Hello and welcome to another No Prize podcast. I'm the Professor Bud Young, and it is the 4th of July weekend over here at No Prize. And in celebration of our liberty from the evil empire, Johnny, how are you?
Happy Kick Out the UK Day.
And Lucas, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Just happy to be along with the boys again, freaking talking about books, movies, and all the other stuff, man.
There we
Just
go.
wanted to remind everybody, hey, this is the summertime. Be careful with the fireworks. Make sure you're careful with the charcoal and the propane gas and all that other stuff because this fourth there was a lot of freaking incidents at the hospitals as always. So just be careful. Hey.
Yep. The no superpowers gained this weekend from anybody.
Yeah, we don't need any human torches kicking around.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you celebrate
Kick out the
getting rid of us?
every time I finish a podcast, I'm like, yay, another one done. No, I've got to be honest. A lot of my friends, my UK friends, think I was born in the wrong country. So,
Well,
so
there you go.
hey ho. So no,
you watch the American football.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I annoy them because I call football soccer, and they're like, "It's not soccer, it's football." And I'm like, "Okay, so then, for you UK fans, if football isn't soccer, why is the Sky Show called Soccer AM?"
Really?
There you go. Chew on that. Bring on the NFL.
There you go. If it's on TV, it must be true.
It must be.
Yeah.
Everything's
right,
documentary on TV, right?
Yeah, we're gonna let's wrap up. So Disney Plus, we wrapped up Obi-Wan last week. So let's jump into that final episode. What did you, Johnny? Why did you start? What did you think?
All right, I thought I didn't know where the last episode was going to go. To be fair, it's kind of meandering at the start of the episode. You're kind of like getting shades of the Last Jedi, where they're trying to run away from the Star Destroyer. I kind of think there has been a lack of space battles in this season,
yes,
for sure. Considering it's called Star Wars, there's not been a lot of stars. But then the last 20 minutes, man, how much did the last 20 minutes pay off? You didn't kill Anakin, you didn't fail Anakin, I did. The whole Princess Leia scene where he's talking to Leia on Alderaan, the pause. When he pulls the pause, it's like my house erupted. Right? We're like, it's as if the Finns had scored the touchdown in the Super Bowl. It was like, whoa! As soon as he pulls, and then at the end, hello there. And it's just like, and he gives him the model ship. Obi-Wan impressed my wife so much. The next night, we watched Star Wars: A New Hope. And
really?
Yeah, and then we're there watching Luke clean the droids. And my wife turns to me and goes, "He's playing with that model that Obi-Wan gave him." I'm like, "Yeah." And so for my wife to pick up on details like that, my wife loves Jedi because she likes the Ewoks. But yeah, every time we put a Star Wars movie on, it's like, is this the one with the Ewoks in? No, we never watched the one with the Ewoks in. Never. No, I thought the show. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that at all. The distance between wherever Obi-Wan and his hyperdrive to Tatooine in the space of minutes when they're chasing down Luke is laughable. But then again, time to stop factors have never been a Star Wars thing. I mean, you can get from Hoth to Bespin in the time it takes to become a Jedi. So but no, it's not perfect. There are some massive issues if you really want to go looking for them. But if you just want to sit down and have a great kick-ass ride in the last 20 minutes that pays off like the Clone Wars season, final season 6 did with Ahsoka, then you know what? This is it. This is the moment. So yeah, well done.
Lucas, what did you think?
Well, the question is, how big of a moment when Qui-Gon Jinn showed up towards the end?
I didn't get it. I was like, I expected, where he's like, he was all flippant. He was all like, took your time. I wanted Obi-Wan to say something like, well, master, I was living in the present. which would have been a knock back to like the Phantom Menace. But it was like, no, cool,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I do get a lot of people who are very pissed off because they feel like Obi-Wan was kind of wussified, right? You know, like, oh man, well, it was like you got to understand, right? They lost, right? They had
Mm-hmm.
just lost via subversion, right? They never saw it coming, right? And then you don't even know who you can trust, right? You
Mm.
know, the droids and drones and the clones and everything that was supposed to be get all that stuff out the way. That was the very thing that their reliance on that was the very thing that ended up freaking killing them, right? So there was
Mhm.
no edge of the universe that they were going to be able to freaking hide, right? And then even then, when he finally got away from all that, he decided just to go to a lowly planet, just hang out, do what he's got to do, grind it out, make sure that Luke was safe and everything. Even then, they found a way to just pull him out, you know,
Mm.
and just beat him out there. And then all that stuff, right? He's like, you know what? Because everybody, look, how many people do you know out there that are just stuck in their situation, right, without hopelessness, right? And they just
Mhm.
say, I'm just going to keep my head down and I'm just going to trudge around and breathe air. Well, sometimes you need that adventure, you need that thing to go through to get all that stuff off your chest so you can go forward. Right. That is the big thing that I got out of this whole freaking season and everything.
Mm.
So I can't wait till season 2. And the reason why the whole Qui-Gon Jinn showing up at the end of it is like, hey, about time you showed up. Because as a monk, that's the type of stuff that they're supposed to show you. Like, hey, when you're trudged down by other bolt BS,
Mm.
there's got to be a way that you can spiritually get rid of that stuff and keep going forward. And that's what Qui-Gon Jinn's spectral freaking image showing up at the end
Mm.
meant to be and everything.
I mean, I
Um,
liked it. I just thought the dialogue could have been better. That's all.
Mm.
I mean, it was a nice nod, definitely. But,
yeah,
The remark that we have work to do, that to me was like, oh, that's a season 2 setup right there. That they have more stuff to do. I for sure thought that we might see Yoda at some point pop up too, and
too
he didn't.
soon,
So
too
eh,
soon, too
I
soon.
I, I kind of thought that Obi-Wan might end up on Dagobah, but maybe that's next season. But I do think that there were in this last episode there were parallels to Return of the Jedi. With
mhm.
the final battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, could have been Vader and Luke redone, right?
Mm.
And then the redemption arc with Reva at the end was for her turning away from the dark side.
Mm.
We think, I mean,
Right.
she didn't kill Luke, so that was to
So,
to me.
I mean, for the Reva storyline in season 2, I think if you're going to do season 2, I think there should be two distinct stories. Or if you're
Mhm.
going to, or Reva's getting a spin off anyway, isn't she? Is that right? Is that the nod?
Rumors. Nothing's been
All right,
officially announced,
all
but I
right.
mean, they
So,
haven't even announced season 2 of Obi-Wan.
so
So
if they're going with the Reva show, that's great. I'm all right for that. But we all know, very similar to Ahsoka, there's no point in having a Reva show. She's just going to walk away and then not be seen for the rest of the trilogy. Because you've got to bear in mind this takes place before A New Hope. So
right,
therefore, if she survives whatever comes next in her future, then the next question is, where was she through the next 6 Star Wars movies? Right? So she's got to be killed at some point. How much investment have you got on a show that the character's going to die? It works well with Rogue One because it's like a one and done type of thing. So Reva needs to have that element. But then they're bringing out Andor, which is based on the guy from Rogue One. So it's like, well, I don't know. But then the other thing, season 2, I think we should have less Vader because the more you see the big bad, the less
Right.
less scary he becomes. And the fact is, as I've said many times before, he's useless. If he was tasked by the Emperor to open a jar of peanut butter, he wouldn't be able to do that correctly somehow.
Right. No.
Um, so
You're
I would
right.
have a Tusken Raider war on Tatooine between the Tusken Raiders and the moisture farmers, and that's when Obi-Wan steps up, being a Jedi, protects the farmers, and then brings up some of that animosity we heard from Owen in The New Hope, which he says things like, "Oh, that old man's just a crazy old wizard." Because at the end of season 1, Obi-Wan, they seem to be quite amicable, so something has to change.
Hmm.
And if Obi-Wan protects the moisture farmers, that's why nobody gives him up to the Empire.
Well, I think
That's my theory.
a season two of Obi-Wan would have to be, and this is I kind of had been thinking about this too. Parallel storylines too, right? So you get a storyline in the present, but we also get a storyline in the past, right? So we're gonna have more Hayden Christensen, less Vader, right?
Yeah.
And then of course they would have to redo the CGI, and they'd have to upgrade it to make him look younger. But then I think that they could do whether or not it's an introduction of a new character that's a threat to Obi-Wan, or maybe they bring back General Grievous or something.
Darth Maul.
Yeah. Or,
No, I'm done with Darth Maul. No, no
Yeah.
more. No
Well, you
more.
know
No
what? You
more.
got
No more getting
the,
chopped in half and getting legs put on. No. It's like the only person who got stabbed with a lightsaber and died is Qui-Gon Jinn. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like Reva gets stabbed is fine. It's like Darth Maul gets chopped in half is fine. You're like,
well, you gotta
oh
so
my god.
well, you gotta remember, the lightsabers are made of crystals, and when you shoot energy through the crystals, they make the photons, which is what the lasers are. So the lasers have a very high temperature. So anytime you put it through something like with moisture, like an organ or muscle, what it does is it cauterizes it.
Mm.
So that's why they don't necessarily die. Really, it
Well,
hurts really fucking bad. But if you don't freaking put it in and twist it around a little bit, all it does is just cauterize it, whatever you're putting it through.
so then why did Qui-Gon die?
Did he get cut in half, or am I
Nope.
No.
mistaken?
He
No, that
just
was
got
Darth
he just
Maul.
got
Right?
stabbed.
Well, where did I would have to watch where he got stabbed at, because the whole thing with Qui Gon Jinn, when it was like it's like I was once again, I was not into the whole prequels deal.
Oh, so he.
It was like.
So this episode of Grey's Anatomy has been brought to you by.
Well, yeah, Qui-Gon might not have been human, right? Maybe it stabbed him right in the heart,
Oh,
even though his heart was a lower. I don't know. Hey, it's storyline. That's
yeah,
fine.
but I'd like to see. I'd like to see Tusken Raider War, if anything,
Yeah.
because Tusken Raiders look cool.
Well, I think we all agree that Obi-Wan was good enough to deserve a season two. I think so. So we'll carry on from there. What about? I know Johnny's not watching Ms. Marvel, but let's touch on that real quick. So we're what, 4 episodes into Ms. Marvel, and
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
how are you liking it? You're watching it.
The don't mean to be the spoiler on this one, but there are a lot of elements that a lot of people are missing. So once again, they are going way back into her cultural thing, and they're not just saying, "Hey, here's a diverse character. Look at us." Like they'll say, "Hey, there was like a diverse freaking cultural thing with her," and if you go deep into that, those pieces along the way of that history goes into the history of parts of the Marvel universe and parts of the Marvel mythology that you just didn't know and understand, right? Um, and the last one that they talked about was the Nor, right? That the Bengals is attached to this Nor dimension. They brought this one up, and let me tell you, the way that the dialogue that they are working this dialogue is mwah, right? Because you're gonna have to watch it 2 or 3 times and watch how what's her name, her auntie or whatever she's explaining it, because Kamala's asking questions, she's asking the right questions, but then the way she's answering, it's not straightforward, right? She's saying, well, where did this come from? And she says, well, that came from the North dimension, which is from another dimension, and we're from another dimension as well. And it's like, hold up, wait, you said that you're from another dimension, but that's from the North dimension. You didn't say that you were necessarily from that same dimension that old girl was from.
Mm.
So they are purposely working the dialogue to pit a later on battle between the light dimension and the dark dimension. Well, why is that important? Because we just had a whole freaking Venom war between Venom and Null. Venom gathering parts of the light dimension. Null, of course, coming from the dark dimension. So it looks like they're trying to expand that, and it's not just being thrown to the side, right? Um, Man, like the way they're working in like her family is amazing. The crappiness from that first episode where Kamala was just a little B, a teenage B, they're freaking pushing that to the side a little bit, and they're showing the inner workings of her relationship with her mom. I'm loving the way they're pulling it back because they're really working it right now. I mean, there's nothing else to say without freaking spoiling too much of it. But it's definitely freaking good. Is it going to now? The question is it worthy of a second season? I don't know yet.
Well,
I don't know if we need a second season of Kamala Khan.
she's going right from this to the
The
Captain
Miss
Marvel
Marvels.
sequel, right?
Right,
So,
right.
um, the one thing that I want to say about the show is I think it's cute. I think it's working for the demographic it's aimed at. It's very reminiscent of the Spider Verse. With the animation and the kind of getting in her thought process and with her explanations, the dialogue really, I think you're right. I think it's spot on. The only thing is that they completely changed her origin story. It's not Ms. Marvel as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's no mention of Inhumans, of course, and I mean, I kind of almost expected that, but her power set's totally different. Her powers are tied to that bangle that she's wearing, and they kind of reveal her as a djinn, and they're tying into the clandestine, which is an old Marvel series, Marvel UK, I think,
Yeah,
with
I remember
Alan Davis,
Well,
clandestine.
well,
right?
see,
I mean,
but see, here's what's interesting, right? The people say that they're Jin. Kamala Khan on her own says that she's the Jin.
Mm-hmm.
The lady never said you're the Jin. Kamala Khan came up with that thing on her own, right?
Well, so
Um,
maybe it's revealed that she's not, right? But
yes.
to me, uh, yeah, it's trying to bring something and trying to keep it in the Marvel universe, but trying to change it because to make it fit in the MCU. But I think that this changes maybe a little too much with especially the power set where it just doesn't look like Ms. Marvel when she's using the light
I
powers. Go
I
ahead, John.
I think I don't understand why they can't bring in the humans in this. I don't understand why they haven't used the idea
Right.
of the Terrigens. When you watch the Jessica Jones TV show, it was on Netflix. It's now on Disney Plus now. In the
Mhm.
first season, Jessica Jones makes comment to the Avengers big battle with the Chitauri.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
and
yeah, that's because in the
and
comics.
Agents of Shield have commented on the TV show, even though it's on ABC, have
Mhm.
commented on things that have happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to show that there is, or there could be,
Yeah.
some level of shared universe between them. You don't have to show them. So I don't know why we haven't got the Mists, and I don't understand why we
Well,
haven't got any humans.
yeah,
So
it's because they tried it before with the Inhumans TV show and it bombed, right? Because they spent more money on getting everybody to Hawaii than the actual CG stuff and the actual actors. But in the comics, they've been slowly trying to work in the whole. There's the Eternals, then there's Deviants, and then there's Humans, and there's X-Men and mutants, and they're all sort of the same little glob of life. And they're trying to show where everybody's at very slowly and surely right now. They're not rushing, and I appreciate that. Um, but there's no rush to show to explain to everybody, hey, there's this crazy ass miss, and that's what changes everybody.
Well, there
You
was
know,
at some point, I think it was between like season 2 and 3 of Shield,
yeah.
where they divorced themselves. The MCU divorced themselves from the TV world, and even though like you see the first seasons of like Daredevil and Jessica Jones would mention the MCU and in some
mhm.
larger whole, going forward they didn't reference that at all. And same thing with Shield. Shield through first couple of seasons, you were seeing like Nick Fury show up. You were seeing
Mm.
Maria Hill show up,
Mm.
and then later on, you just didn't see any of it or any mention of them. So to
Mm.
me, it was a conscious decision on the MCU part, or maybe Marvel Studios to separate themselves from that. Um, I don't know why, but I think
Well,
that was
I, I,
prior to the Inhumans showing up. I think.
I kind of get what you're saying, but I
Yeah.
don't wholeheartedly agree with it. Because if that was the issue, why did Black Bolt show up in Doc Strange? You can have
Good.
Black.
Yeah. Right.
So if you can have you have Black Bolt in Doc Strange,
Right.
and really,
You can have the Inhumans in Ms. Marvel,
yeah,
which and as far as this show is concerned, I'm not totally convinced that this is actually happening in the MCU. You know, if this is happening like in one of the different multiverses that Loki or Doctor Strange cooked up, which
I'm
is
sick of the multiverse.
No,
I will say,
Johnny, we'll talk about multiverses later. 'Cause-
well, I
yeah.
will. Well, I mean, here's the argument that I'll throw across the table on this one. So you know how you have Miss America Chavez, I think that's what her name
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and she was heralded as one of the first gay plus Latinas that they have in the MCU and everything, right?
Mhm.
But what was the problem? She's not. She's actually alien, right?
Hmm.
So the problem right now that you have with all this other stuff is if Miss Marvel is inhuman, Inhumans are not actually humans from the Earth. They're things from another world. Now you invalidate her claiming to be a Pakistani, uh,
No,
Hindu. Yeah,
no,
you do.
no, you
You
don't. You
absolutely
don't.
do.
Religion,
You do.
religion, and belief come from upbringing. They don't come from any particular style. I could potentially, if
But
I
her
wanted, if I
body,
want,
I
it doesn't
understand.
matter.
But her, I
I could,
understand. But
I could
her
change my
body.
religion. I could
Yeah,
change my
but her.
religion right now, and that's. I could argue. I'd say, well, actually, I believe in this or I believe in that. It doesn't necessarily equate that because your biology is different, therefore your impact on what you believe is any different. Sorry, I've interjected.
Or we're so this goes
Oh,
back to hey today I believe I'm a banana, so
well,
everybody
hey,
needs to treat me as a banana,
is that because you're not peeling
like
very well?
you know
Oh,
you know
uh,
so
That's
by the
actually
way,
pretty good.
Johnny refuses
Hmm.
the machine refuses to watch Kamala on the basis of I don't
Johnny
no,
the Machine doesn't refuse to watch the
he watched
Miss
the first
Marvel
one,
show.
I give him
I
that.
watched the first one. Tonally, it's not for me. I don't watching teenage kids run around and do crazy stuff just doesn't appeal to me. Um, it's not Miss Marvel. I get that Kamala Khan has the religious aspects and the diversity aspects of the one that's in the comic book. Power set, it's not Miss Marvel. You might as well imagine then a TV show called The Incredible Hulk, where the dude doesn't turn green and he doesn't get angry. You'd be like, what the hell is all this about? So
mhm.
this is exactly where I'm at. My wife has stuck with the show a little bit longer, but tonally, not the diverse element, not the religious element, not the impact of the MCU or anything like that. Tonally, it is not aimed at us, and she's not enjoying it
Yeah,
because of that. So, you know what? That's fine, and that's why there's different channels for different people. So there you go.
this is true. All right, let's just say, hey, Thor is opening up this coming weekend. Are
Did you
we all
see
gonna
the?
go see it this weekend?
Did you? Oh, we've booked tickets to see it.
Oh,
But did you see someone say on Twitter? I can't dig it out. But someone said they've seen an advanced preview of Thor, and it's as bad as Batman and Robin.
really?
Yep. Said the humor just does not. It doesn't hit. It is as bad as that. Now that's what works for me because I really like Batman and Robin. I think Batman and Robin's better than the Dark Knight Rises. So,
Interesting.
but it's Twitter, so who knows? Who knows if it's right or not? But we'll be going to see it. And yes,
Uh,
I've still got my boxes in a bunch about that whole strip Thor naked gag, which they won't strip a female Thor naked like that, would they? No, that's against some sort of rule. But it's all right to do it to blokes. Yeah, okay. How's equality working for you right now? Oh, that's right, it isn't.
hey, yeah, it's kind of like it's turned around on us. So,
It's,
um,
I'm feeling the pressure. I am rocking a dad bod. And now, somewhere along the line, I'm supposed to look like Chris Hemsworth. Are you insane? It's never going to happen.
I've seen the full Monty, Johnny. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
Right, cool. I'm trying to think when did I show the full money. And I've done the President and Wonder Woman book ones, but that's a total different thing. All right, kind of.
So, Lucas, I like the graphic that you showed up, and I was going to mention that rumor that popped up. Apparently, Howard Stern on his show earlier this week on a hot mic mentioned that he was filming Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think he's just doing the voice, or do you think he's actually a character in this movie?
No, he's probably just playing a DJ. I mean, like just playing himself. Yeah, just playing himself. He's not going to be a character, freaking. But the big news is a Doctor Doom project. Period. Right? Because there's been rumors like freaking that there might be a Doctor Doom project, but there was nothing confirmed. There was a UK production studio that was bought out to be able to do something like that. And I forget what they called themselves, and what they called themselves was very close to some of the stuff with Doctor Doom. We just don't know what it's about yet, right? So there's like, hey, maybe it has something to do with Armored Wars, or there is this one particular storyline where he got a hold of some vibranium. Maybe they're going to do something like that. But that's the big thing, and people are like on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to go on with that.
Maybe Howard Stern's the guy that says something that sets Doom off.
Well,
oh yeah, damn you, Stern!
I heard
the power cosmic to wipe his ass out or something.
I heard that there was already a Doctor Doom Stinger trailer shot for the end of the Black Panther 2 movie that's coming out on November 11th. So we're going to find out sooner rather than later about Doctor Doom. So
yeah, there's supposed to be a whole bunch of news that comes out later on this month. When is San Diego Comic-Con? There's supposed to be some news coming out during that time.
It's 24th of July, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
I believe so.
My wife's birthday. I was on a podcast, and one of the guys I was interviewing said, "You're coming out to San Diego?" And I was like, "When is it?" He said, 24th of July. I said, "You know what? It's my wife's birthday. I don't think she'd appreciate me flying all the way to San Diego just to hang out with some comic book geeks." And she was like, "Yeah, probably not." I was like, "Yeah, cool."
You can always take her with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be the present. She'd be like, the present would be, leave me here, you go. See you later, bye.
All right. Yeah, we want to touch on, I don't really like talking about casting Wolverine because it's just like there's so many people out there that it's thrown out.
Yeah, it's just another rumor. That's a whatever, but I do think it's an interesting pick if they do get him to do it, because look, I love him in what's the spy movie? I forget what it's freaking called.
The Kingsman.
Is that it?
I thought they were getting the guy from they're getting Homelander to do it. That's the news.
There's like 15 different rumors out there. So I saw them talking about Chris Evans last week. I was just please stop.
Daniel Radcliffe is being mentioned.
Yep. So I mean, I think whoever they cast as Wolverine is gonna be a relative unknown.
Hey, I could do it. I've got the hair. I'm there. Yeah, I can grow these back in. Yeah. You can CGI your bod for me. I'll be fine.
The Blade movie has been pushed back. As far as filming to October 2022, but they're thinking that they're still going to go with the be able to push out an actual full thing movie in 2023. We'll see about that. They pretty soon there's supposed to be a gay Spider-Man, which is weird. I don't know what that's about, because I thought Miles Morales was supposed to be gay. So
they started seeing Ghost Spider.
Yeah, so
into the Spider-Verse pretty much cleared up the fact that he was into Gwen. So
well, the thing is, there was actually a character that came out in this volume where the kid is absolutely gay, and Miles is kind of cozying up to that kid as well. So like, Miles is bi, right?
I don't understand why sexuality ends up being such a cornerstone. Has nobody learned? There's a whole, and I'm sorry to bring up the distinguished competition on this, but the last season, the last series, the last volume of Batwoman comics was on for like 12, 13 issues or whatever, and every issue was all about oh, how I've this last year and how I've lost the love of my life. It's like, for Christ's sakes, a whole 12 issues
Mm.
about being. I don't get 12 issues of Bruce Wayne whinging about Talia or Vicky Vale, or we don't get 12 issues of Peter Parker whinging about Mary Jane. I just don't understand. I personally have no problem, if a character's gay, straight, bi, lesbian,
The story's going to be there. That's the
whatever.
thing, though.
But it's got to be the story.
Yeah.
It's who you sleep with, who you're attracted to. It does not define you as a character in the story. What your actions do. So therefore, who you're with is pretty much inconsequential. It doesn't bother me if, right, okay. So in a traditional straight storyline, the hero goes and saves the damsel. That's fine. I have no problem if the hero goes and saves a male person who's his particular damsel. I have no problem if it's a trans character. I have no problems, whatever. As long as the hero saves the person that they care about. That's the end of the story. The rest of it is just, I don't know, smoke and mirrors, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I am unwanted here, aren't I? I mustn't have got much sleep last night.
Well, I think representation in comics is important, especially these days. It's just you're absolutely right. I think that a lot of the times the importance is weighted on their sexuality rather than a readable story, and that to me, I think, is the crime.
I could
that's all I can say about it.
I could get bent out of shape because every time anyone's in the UK, artists draw double-decker buses. We haven't had double-decker buses for the last 20 years. Never mind. But hey. For those who don't know what a double-decker bus is, it's a bus. It's got two decks.
Yes, a double-decker, kind of like a double cheeseburger. I get it.
Double cheeseburger.
Now you have to have a double cheeseburger for lunch. All right. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back and we'll talk some actual comics.
Whee! I swear that is the longest advert we've got, right?
I was going to say, how does Distinguished Crusade get 5 hosts?
Well, there's a good reason for this. We may have 5 hosts, but if all 5 of them are ever on the pod at the same time, it would be the end of the world.
There we go. All right, so rotating cast of characters, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much
the Justice League, right? Whoever shows up gets the story.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. The call goes out, you answer it, you turn up. Some people answer it and don't turn up, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. But I'm there. I'm always there. So.
All right, let's talk some comics. We had some comics come out this week. Whether they're good or not, we'll let you decide. We'll decide for you. Let's start with Iron Cat #1. This was Lucas's pick. Now, before we get started on this, I was a little confused at the beginning because when you picked Iron Cat, I just assumed you were talking about the Iron Man Hellcat annual, which also came out this week.
Yes. Why is there an annual for a book that doesn't exist?
I don't know, but I just assumed so. Like I read that, and then I was like, oh wait, there's another book. But you know, of course, when we see it, it's just this Iron Cat #1. I was like, oh, it just must be an Iron Man Hellcat team up book. And then, and then I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, totally not what I thought. No, go ahead, Lucas. Jump in.
No, 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 no. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's my problem. Like, wait, you got two different books happening in two different situations happening right now, right? One is Iron Man and Felicia, and then you got him running around with Hellcat right now at the same time. Why? Why bring up the confusion? Like, look, I know Tony Stark is supposed to be a pimp. Come on, man. Like, yo, calm down, right? You know, if I swear to God, if nothing comes out of both of these relationships, like at least a child or a divorce where Tony loses everything again, whoever's on the board of Marvel needs to be shot. I'm sorry, man. This is freaking crazy. So, but let's get into the actual meat of what's going on right now. Right? Iron Cat, right? This is so back in I think it was like Black Cat number 11 or 12 or something like that. Black Cat, she broke into Tony's armory, and she stole one of the Iron Man suits, and it eventually became Iron Cat. She used it to do some robberies. She got into it with Tony Stark, blah blah blah. She gave it back. It was supposedly destroyed. Turns out it was not destroyed. Right now, it's been turned over to this old associate of hers, Tamara Blake, who was under the tenure of Felicia's old mentor, the Black Fox. So now Tamara Blake is back, and she's the person wearing this Iron Cat suit, terrorizing Felicia, messing her up on all these jobs and everything. And apparently, off screen, she and Felicia had some ongoing relationship. So now Felicia wants Tony's help and turning this suit off somehow, and just going back to the co, right? So it's like I don't understand what's going on with the story, why the story was needed. Like, first of all, you already baited us with the whole, hey, Iron Man's trying to get married. He's trying to become an honest man, and then you got us on this junk ass freaking storyline, which it's not totally total junk. Like if you didn't have Iron Man and Hellcat thing happening, then I would actually kind of like what's going on with this. Right, this is like okay, let's see if these two compare well. Let's see if this freaking matches up. The art wasn't bad, let's see what's going on with this. But now you got these two competing stories, and they don't match up. I don't know what's going on with the timeline and none of this stuff. So I'm
Mhm.
very confused. Maybe you guys were able to make some sense out of what's going on. Of course, at the end, you got to have Felicia doing the sexy pose, trying to bait Tony, like, "Hey, do it, sir. Do help me out, sir." And, and with the wet cat thing. I don't know, man. I don't know what Marvel was thinking on with this one, but maybe you guys can illuminate. Like, what did you guys think of this
Johnny.
tremendous trash?
Well, I absolutely love this book. I reviewed it not the weekend recording, the weekend before over on Comic Crusaders as an advanced review. And you guys know how much I love the Black Cat, especially when she's written by Jed McKay. I must have been banging on about this book for God knows how long when it was a regular monthly. I'm glad to see her back in a book. Um, she's making some appearances in Amazing Spider-Man, which I'm looking forward to as well. I think McKay has got it bang on right, tone-wise. The humour's there. We've said before, haven't we, how many Marvel books have to have a humour quota?
Mm-hmm.
The Black Cat's one of those characters that it works for. Um, I could do without everything revolving around the Fox.
Yeah.
From a plot point, a plot device method. The fact she has a relationship with someone else doesn't bother me. You know full well in the main book she started dating or sleeping with or seeing or whatever the queen of the thieves guild. So that's not a new thing for me. Um, I like the art. The art is by, let me check my notes. It's
Pierre Perez.
Pierre Perez, who you will have recognised from the recently cancelled Spider Woman book. I think the art in this looks better than the Spider Woman stuff. I don't know why some of his Spider-Woman stuff was quite androgynous in places. I think probably because there's when it comes to Spider-Woman, there's a lot of animosity still because of her sexualization. Whereas Black Cat's Black Cat, so I don't know what the distinction between the two is there. But it's a pacey book. It reads well. The colors are great. I like the way they sepia out the Flashpoint. I don't see Tony and Felicia getting it on like you see, Lucas. I think Tony's just a means to an end, and that the cat is just flirty as. Um, I agree that there is a lot of different crazy stuff going on because how can Tony be here if he's in the Hellcat Annual? How can Felicia be here when she's in Amazing Spider-Man? I get that, but that's just comics 101 for me.
Everything happens in a vacuum now.
But from a fun point of view, which is why we're supposed to be reading comic books, I had fun reading it. So there you go.
I thought it was fun. I think Black Cat is one of many Marvel characters I think is deserving of her own book. Interesting enough to keep you reading, and has a lot of history with a lot of different characters now, not just Spider-Man. And the only issue, and this is going to be probably a running theme for me, probably forever now, is that pretty much all the characters that they're creating now are just derivatives of either mashups of these characters or there's nothing totally original, and that's the thing that's I think impacting my fandom I think lately. So we have Iron Cat, which obviously is a mashup between Black Cat and Iron Man, and this character you may have possibly maybe seen in the Infinity War book a couple of years ago when they did those mashups. To me, I think it's way overdone.
I agree with you to a point, but how many times have you and I and Lucas read an Avengers book?
Oh,
and
don't get me started.
Oh, I'm going to get you started. How many times have we read an Avengers book and the saving grace is that, oh no, Black Widow now has an Iron Man suit. Black Panther now has an Iron Man suit. So the idea of Cat having an Iron Man suit, it's not too far outside the realms of what we expected. Will the characters go past this point? I don't know. But
let me jump. I'm going to totally digress for a second because I just read this before we came on the air. But I think I mentioned Dan Slott was leaving Fantastic Four on the last show, and so it has been announced that he is going back to Spider-Man, and he's going to have a Spider-Man book concurrently with the Zeb Wells JR book, and this is going to be Dan Slott and Mark Bagley, and Dan Slott is going to put Spidey in a suit created by Norman Osborn. That just reminded me, so that's why I said something. So
did you see the Twitter feed this morning that accuses Dan Slott of using ghostwriters?
Nope. Let's not go down that rabbit hole until we're sure if that's a real story.
Hold on, that might be, your explanation of that might be the reason for this. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's not working. Here we go. So this is a thing from 789 Comics. This is their retail exclusive, and as you can see, there's Spider-Man, but he's got this thing on his back, and there's like this green gas coming from him.
Yep.
So I wonder
that's the new suit. Yep.
So.
Yay. I don't know this suit thing. It's like I said, it's everything is derivative these days. There's nothing original, and I just don't like it. All right, so let's speaking about not original and don't like it. Let's go to the Avengers.
Oh, I said the word too many times, didn't I? God damn it! This is what happens. Say the Avengers too many times when you have to look at the goddamn book.
So this is Avengers number 57. Jason Aaron.
Say it like you mean it.
Stand by. I'll do it justice.
Or injustice.
All right. Hold on. Okay, here's who to blame. Jason Aaron, Javier Garron on art, We have David Curiel on colors. VC's Corey Pettit on letters. Great job, Corey. And the editors to blame if you don't like it, Martin Biro, Annalisa Bisa, Tom Brevoort, and CB Cebulski. I think this one you need to go all the way to the top this time. All right, so this is supposed to be the big kind of ramp up to Judgment Day, where we have, since the A versus X a few years ago wasn't big enough, now we have to have the Avengers versus the X-Men versus the Eternals.
So just so I know, this is AVSX VSE.
Yes.
This is getting more like Sesame Street every single time.
Yes, for sure. So if you look on the page where they say the Avengers and they have all they have this new Justice League table with all the symbols across the top. Mm-hmm. I challenge you to name or to point out all the Avengers that appear in this issue.
I can do it.
Yes.
There's DOS. Uno DOS. There's DOS. There is Thor and there is Captain Marvel. That's
yes.
It. Hey, yep. What do I win?
I don't know. I don't know. You win the booby prize, but
I win a no prize.
So this story out of left field. So the beginning of the storyline is that the Avengers are now traveling through time to fight Mephisto, who has created what he calls his Council of Red, which is made up of variant versions of himself. Which I believe we saw this 35 years ago in the Avengers when Kang did it with the Council of Cross-Time Kangs. I don't know if you remember that storyline, mm-hmm. But Mephisto does it here, and now he's going through time, like much like Kang, and he is now trying to. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to, in this issue, destroy or get the Eye of Agamotto off of this brand new character called Sergeant Sebastian Zardos, who, if you remember, the Zardos name was from your X-Men continuity, which is the mystical relationships with Nightcrawler, right? That's if I remember correctly. Anyway, this guy Zardos apparently is the Soldier Supreme, and he's walking around with the Eye of Agamotto, and he is the disciple of the Ancient One, and apparently he's World War II's Sorcerer Supreme. And apparently running all around, you find out at the end of this issue as part of the secret invaders with apparently a younger Blade, a Man-Thing, with who's called War Thing, and he wears a helmet much like that soldier, and a Ghost Rider, which they don't really kind of shout that guy out, but he's a Ghost Rider. So here we are with and this is basically the storyline: is Mephisto has possessed a Hell sub, U-666, and Sergeant Zardos destroys the sub, but is marooned on this island with a bunch of other soldiers that have been previously marooned by the sub. And Mephisto does this whole jump around thing to each soldier, forcing them to all kill each other, and eventually Sergeant Zardos can't stop them on his own, and Thor and Captain Marvel show up to help him for some. They kind of just show up out of the blue in the last two panels of the book to help him just defeat Mephisto. To me, this was a mess from beginning to end. We have to be introduced to a brand new character, which turns into 4 brand new characters by the end of this book. Mephisto, who the only way you could tell he's Mephisto is because he's got red word bubbles, and
right. Who could have been Sebastian Shaw for all I know.
Could have been. And then all you get is you have one panel of Thor coming through a portal, and then one panel of Captain Marvel hiding in the bushes, who apparently just delivered Sergeant Zardos a World War II plane to go get him, Sarge. And that's the extent of their appearance at this issue. To which I mean, this book infuriates me to no end simply because they just constantly are introducing new characters. And what I had said before about derivatives of existing characters, you have no original characters in this book. You have a Doctor Strange knockoff, you have a Ghost Rider knockoff, a Ghost Tank, right? Ghost Tank. You have a Man Thing knockoff, as if do we need a Man Thing knockoff? But and who knows? This could be the actual Blade. I don't know, but he's younger in this, which aren't he's half vampire, right? So he does. I guess he ages. But anyway, um, there's really nothing that goes on in this issue to kind of build up an A versus X versus E crossover. There's really nothing that builds on anything previously made, other than the fact that all of these Avengers templates um, apparently have been around for millions of years. Ghost Riders, Man Things, Blades, um, Phoenixes, because I saw a Phoenix show up and that kind of whispered Mephisto's name to Sergeant Zardos, and apparently we have Sorcerer Supremes all the way up through millions of years. So to me, it just to me is just like it's like a bucket of crap thrown against the wall and try to figure it out. So I mean I can't tell any prospective Avengers fan to pick this book up because you won't understand what the hell is going on. Johnny, save me from this.
Right, okay, so in the same week that we had the aforementioned doesn't have a comic book series, but we're getting an annual Iron Man Hellcat, I don't understand why we have to have an Avengers book with no Avengers. I don't get how that introduction page with all the symbols that you mentioned, why we can't use that for story instead of advertising the fact the characters of which you're not going to see.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something like this, and this is Aaron's current modus operandi. How many times have we seen an Avengers book with no Avengers over the last 2 years?
57 issues.
I would say this: if you're going to do something like this, can you not instead do something like an A versus E versus X alpha issue as a one shot that sort of like steps you towards the big event? If I'm buying Avengers, I'm buying it because I like the Avengers. If I'm buying Spider-Man, I'm buying it because I like Spider-Man. These are the people that I want to see. It's okay the first time you do this, it's like, oh, nice change of pace. But every single time, really?
Well, here's one of your other pet peeves, Johnny. How many characters on the cover actually appear in the book?
Yeah, don't even get me started, man.
Yeah.
I see 1,
2. Is Thor on the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. I see 2. I didn't mind the idea. I didn't mind the idea of the Soldier Supreme at all. I thought, you know what, that's a canny idea. I don't mind that. What I do mind, and this is my last comment before I hand over to Lucas, because I know I've talked quite a lot at this point. Ghost Rider. The clues in the title, yeah. So I get the Ghost Rider should be on a phantom horse when he first starts, because you ride a horse. I get that he should be on a motorcycle, because you ride a motorcycle. However, I don't agree that he should be in a car, because then he'd be the ghost driver. I don't agree that he should be in a truck, because then he'd be the ghost trucker. And then I don't agree that he should be in a tank, because then he'd be the ghost driver again. It's like, you've got a brand, stick to it. I don't get it. And for everyone who thinks, what am I talking about the truck? Go and check out the issue 3, I think 3 or 4 of the Ghost Rider book to see what happens there. So just to prove that I do read more than just this Marvel books. There you go.
Lucas, did you find anything redeeming in this book?
Well, I liked this movie when it was called The Fallen by Denzel Washington. The movie by Denzel Washington.
Good shout. I thought exactly the same. Good call.
Right. So for those that don't know what that movie is, there's a movie with Denzel Washington in it where the devil or the serial killer, he is able to possess different people at will. And the whole time, he's taunting, Denzel Washington, who's the detective at the time, and that. So in that vein, right? In that vein, showing how dangerous Mephisto really is, that might be interesting. It just wasn't interesting here, right?
Mhm.
Because you know why? Because we didn't get a chance to actually sit with these soldiers. We just dropped this fire team off in the middle of nowhere. I don't know who. Okay, it's like, okay, you dropped them off on an island, right? So and we don't know why they were on the island, right? They said they got shipwrecked for no freaking reason. And
I
then you start possessing these soldiers. So once you kill all the soldiers, there's no other threat,
I assumed
right?
it
Right.
was an island of the dead. I've got to be honest.
I thought
Like
so at the
like like
beginning
like
too, but
like a lost thing. I thought it
yeah.
was like, ooh, but
But then I'm sitting there going, okay, so Mephisto shipwrecked. Oh, this possessed sub was just trolling around the deep, shipwrecking people in the hopes that at some point he ran into Sergeant Zardos, who has the Eye of Agamotto.
But
I
then but
thought,
then but then where's Namor? He would have picked up on that quick, and he would
oh
have
well,
freaking.
apparently this is a job for the secret invaders, not the actual invaders. Oh
I'm
not
looking.
bitter
Is
at all.
Namor even on this page? No, he's not
no,
even on
no,
the
he's
freaking
not on
cover.
the cover, even though he is a member of the Avengers currently, not on this cover. Oh
I don't see Black
How
Panther on here.
well, Black Panther's not in the group anymore.
Oh, I see Nighthawk, who's a
Yep.
new. But that's what freaking gets me. It's like, okay, you guys are talking about the Avengers. These guys weren't Avengers. They were possibly setting up an entry storyline, but they ended the storyline. They killed everybody. Within the first few pages, right? So it's like, okay, well, that's not going anywhere. And then I felt like this story would have been this. Where's that other book, Savage Avengers or something
Yep.
like that?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
should have made a. They should have put this story into Savage Avengers and let that be its own thing, right? But this book, Avengers number 57, makes me not want to care about picking up number 58.
Well, and supposedly you're supposed to be reading Avengers Forever concurrently with this book so that you get the entire story. But I just think that book is chaos too. Like I have no, I mean, there's nothing that would keep me reading to find out what's happening because I can't really catch up. Even though I've read every single issue of this and I understand what's going on, I just think that there's just always uh, it's what it feels like. You ever read the comic strip Blondie and Dagwood is making the sandwich and it's
Mm.
always ends up being about like 10 stories high, that sandwich at the end.
Yeah,
That's what this book is. Just is a never ending. You never get that extra top layer of bread. It's always just adding meat and lettuce and tomatoes and everything, and then you never finished with the sandwich. That's what I say. Jason Aaron, finish the goddamn sandwich. So, all right.
The-
That'll finish the review. All right, let's do a real quick jump over to variants. And Johnny, this was your pick.
So I picked this for a couple of reasons. One, I love Jessica Jones. Two, I like Gail Simone's writing. At least I like it when she was on Birds of Prey, which is obviously a DC book. I also loved it on Domino, which I
Mhm.
thought totally changed my opinion of Gail. Gail's normally known, especially with the Distinguished Competition, quite a serious writer. She fit straight into the Marvel humor first element with Domino and how Domino interacted with other characters really well. Of course, Diamondback was in that book, and you all know I have a soft spot for her. Anyway, so Gail Simone is writing this book, art by Phil Noto, and letters by BC's Corey Pettit. Before I talk about the book, I will say this: Marvel, why are you not putting letterers on the cover of your books? You're doing it on the Amazing Spider-Man book. That's the only one. Credit the letterers. Okay, that's done. So this book's more multiversal shenanigans and MacGuffins all the way. It's cleverly plotted in that we follow one particular Jessica, and then as we go through the book, we find out that things are going on she has no idea of. Things are happening. She's like, "What?" As if she's kind of having blackouts and stuff. The modus operandi of the idea that there's a mind bomb in her head planted there by Kilgrave It's such a clever idea. I really like
It
that.
is.
I absolutely totally think that's a really good kind of plot to think that such as he's allowing his victims to be free for a certain period of time before they end up doing something crazy. Was I disappointed when when an alternative Captain America shows up again? No, I'm not. I wasn't particularly annoyed. I think Simone's got Jessica Jones' voice down really well. So I'm gonna stick with it. I want to see how it goes out. I am quite intrigued for a
Well,
multiverse book.
they tell you right on the cover. I mean, the name of the book is The Variants, so
Well, it depends how you pronounce it, because it is variance. But then, is it a wordplay as in variance with a CE rather than a TS?
oh well.
Like the variance, the difference between, rather than the actual differences.
Lucas, what did you think of this?
It was absolutely amazing. It was a really good
Way.
story up until Captain America Jessica Jones shows up.
Oh.
The
Oh.
the reason why that, because, and once again, this is one of those, it might have been interesting until the 30 other books that you got going on right now where it's the same effing thing. You've got Edge of Spider Verse, Miles. What if Miles Morales? You got a Black Panther doing his own thing. You got Moon Girl on her freaking way. We just did a review about Avengers where you got different freaking variations of every single character that's on this freaking way. Man, it's too much at the same doggone time. And I get it that the movies are going off that way and they're trying to, but look, give me some books. Give me some palate cleanser where that's not the deal, right? That everything doesn't have to be in a multiverse. And once again, nobody. First of all, nobody cares about Captain America right now. So why are you bringing Captain America into this freaking thing, right? No, if you're going to give me a different Jessica Jones, you know what, freaking tickle my fancy. Let me see Jessica Jones as an African American lady. Let me see that. I think that would be interesting. Let's see how Luke Cage, freaking, you know, relishes, seeing a Jessica Jones that might be black. That might be interesting, right? But no, we got a Captain America, Jessica Jones, and I don't care. The rest of
Well,
the story was bang on, absolutely amazing, except for this one ending. Now I'm scared for the variants.
well,
Now, if you're gonna, sorry to interrupt.
no,
No,
I'm
that's
no, no,
sorry,
okay.
I'm done.
Go ahead.
but if you're gonna do something like give us a Black Jessica Jones, by definition of their relationship, surely you should have a white Luke Cage.
Yeah.
But then a
Yeah.
white Luke Cage wouldn't protect Harlem, would he? Because Harlem's predominantly a
No, no,
white.
no, 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 no. Because you got to remember, just Harlem has been gentrified right now,
Okay.
right? So whereas it was historically black, now it's slowly becoming more gentrified and more the demographic is changing to more Caucasians and Asians right now. So it would be possible.
Cool. Excellent.
So I'm going to say why I kind of think that this book works as far as the with the variants um, is because of Kilgrave, right? So we all know that Kilgrave assaulted Jessica, forced her to do his bidding or his will, forced his will upon her. So that's, I mean, so in essence, she's more of what you would think like of a survivor of mental abuse or
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse. And to me, I think even mentioned halfway through the story where Matt Murdock has this woman that has killed her her family because Kilgrave put the bomb in her head, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
the suggestion bomb, much like we think that Jessica might have leading on through the series. What I think that these variants might reflect, and I'm not sure, I'm just kind of speculating right now, is just the different fractured parts of her personality that she's piecing together as part of trying to deal with the abuse that she suffered. So
That's an idea. I like
to,
that. That's a good call.
so to me, that's what I kind of think worked in this, because Jessica's, I mean, even we saw Jessica on the Netflix show, she's not okay, right? She's
Yeah.
just like not an okay person in any way, shape, or form. And for being able to kind of deal with her issues this way. I kind of think that Gail Simone is really kind of hitting the nail on the head here, or really kind of exploring those aspects of maybe mental illness. And I think that would be where you go going forward as far as this book. And who knows what happens with these other variations of her? Maybe they're all in her head. Wouldn't that be weird? So
it would be definitely.
so
Maybe that's the mind bomb. Maybe that's the actual.
maybe it is. Maybe it is. So let's do we have a 2-minute warning here, or do we have time for this? Or
If we've got a 2-minute warning, let's do it because we love the 2-minute warning. Come
All right.
on.
Coming soon, coming out this week. Make sure you stop by your local comic book shops if you can give them your patronage. Hulk #7, that second print at 125. It's a sketch. Jane Foster's Mighty Thor has got that Predator joint coming out by Jung Yoon. Strange Academy back with number 18.
oh, hey, cool.
Yeah, for those who like making money on Strange Academy, that's what you want. People have been picking up Strange Academy left, right, and the other thing. They can make sure you get your copies of Strange Academy.
So
read
it's
and then
it's
sell it
coming
off.
back with its original numbering. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
and
I'm excited about
presumably new characters, right? Because the kids left the academy, so
Yeah,
there's
look
gonna
at
be new
that.
characters in there, right? And then Thor #25, that second print, there's gonna be a 1 in 25.
I
for
hate
one
that
of the
story, by
sketches,
the way.
but yeah, the first appearance of the Celestial Hulkbuster. So the thing. Books that are on FOC, so make sure you talk to your LCS or make sure you start freaking like, hey, freaking, you guys need to freaking pick this up for me. Ghost Rider, Vengeance Forever. There's the #1 is a Larage Diamond Retailer, which is limited to 4,000. Moon Knight Black.
Why
White,
is there a second Ghost Rider book?
Wait, is that Danny Ketch or is that Johnny Blaze? It looks like Danny Ketch.
He looks like Daddy Ketch in the current Ghost Rider book as well.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Sir. There's going to be Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood. Stegman second print. New Fantastic Four second print.
Who's buying that?
Captain America Sentinel Liberty #1 second print. All right, here we go.
Wait,
Avengers.
can I ask a question? Are all these
Absolutely.
books selling out? Is that why they're doing second prints? Because I don't believe that at all.
Look, we are in a war with trees, and they all must die. All right, kill all of every single one of them. No, the Avengers and Moon Girl. This is going to be the first cover appearance of the clone of Devil Dinosaur. Nobody cares, but we'll see. Like, I don't know what Marvel's thinking about, but once again, you know how I complain about them sending random black people off to the moon for no freaking reason, and here they are doing it again. Black Panther. This is #8, and #7 is supposed to be the rise of that new character Tosin, where he eventually becomes the official guardian of Wakanda. So #8.
That I was going to ask. Do you think the loss of I forget his name, Chadwick, is
T'Challa.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's T'Challa. Do you think they're going to impact the comic books? We're going to lose T'Challa and get a different Black Panther.
You got to, right? We should be losing all these characters. Every single one of these characters we should be losing, and we should have new ones stepping up. Every single one of them. Kill them all. Kill them all. Like, look, we killed
Shooter. Easy Jim
Yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah. We killed. They killed off Tony Stark, and I love what they did with having Peter Parker stepping into the role and the intricacies. Like, hey, you can't just have some 17-year-old kid step into that. We got freaking Kamala Khan on the way as Miss Marvel. We got so many characters that that Marvel is doing the right thing, slowly killing these characters off. Look, they even made Captain America disappear so they can let Bucky and Falcon step into those official roles. So I do like what they're doing, but it'll be kind of quick if they try and do that with Tosin and just have him like as the guardian of a whole freaking nation all of a sudden.
So then let me ask you another question quickly on that then.
Yeah.
Should an actor leaving a movie for whatever reason actually therefore impact the comic books?
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, in that case, because of that, then therefore we should do it out with all the people that died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Why not? Why not? Right? It's about the falloose, man, the money, right?
That's an interesting conversation to have. Maybe we can have next time about Marvel and DC, where you can just recast Superman and Batman, but you can't necessarily recast Captain America and Iron Man.
That's a good shout. That's a good question. Let's remember that for next time.
Look,
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, we got a whole bunch of actors and actresses acting up, um, and they think that they're untouchable. Hell no, but you act up, you freaking keep your mess out of the freaking news. Guess what? We will move on, right?
Yeah, but it shouldn't impact the comic books, is what I'm saying. Carry on.
Okay. Peach Momoko, Demon Wars, the Iron Samurai. All right. The one in the middle is a favorite. That's one by Terry Tatson. I think that's the 1 in 500.
Okay.
Or excuse me, it's either like 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. Then Edge of Spider Verse, the one on far left is Bengal, and the one that people should definitely think about picking up is the one with the little characters. That's the Scotty Young.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one with no characters on there, eh?
Talking about the blank.
Yeah.
It all depends, man, because you could take those to those Comic Cons
Yeah, I'm
and get
joking.
the artist to. Hey, sometimes people love them, man. They were a good thing for a while. And then the one to the far right of this one, that's the 1 in 25, and the one in the middle, that's a 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go, Ghost Rider. You guys have talked about this. Hey, freaking more Ghost Rider stuff, right? Um, Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, Judgment Day. One in the middle is the Momoko.
What about the white cream one? Who's that one?
You talking about the one on the far right or one on the far
Yep.
left?
Far right. This one,
Is
right?
it, that's not Art Adams, is it? I mean, it kind of.
Yeah, the one on the far right. Yeah, I believe that's Art Adams.
And is that regular or is that variant?
Yeah, these are all regular. All
Cool.
regular. Yeah, so one on the this Immortal X-Men #5. That one's by Art Adams. One right next to it is the Nodo. Then one in the middle is the Momoko. One far left is I don't know who that is, but that's the cover A. This one is probably going to be my favorite set. Iron Man #22. Far left is Ross. One in the far right is Bjorn Barons. That's the Predator joint. And then one in the middle, that's the Lasagna.
The lasagna, did you say? Wow.
Yes, lasagna. Yes.
Master's getting on the act.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and we were actually talking about that this week on Drunken Chat that if people want to get this slabbed, it's going to be very difficult to get it at 98 because look, the paper for Marvel has been going down, like the paper quality has been going down, and it being a black cover, there's going to be some scuff marks, so it's going to be hard to get 98. Legions of X, some Moon Knight, Miss Marvel and Wolverine, Predator, right? This one is going to be the most interesting. The one to the far left, that's the Raza. The one in the middle is Momoko.
I love the Scotty Young one.
And Scotty Young, yes, that one's it's just hilarious, right? That one's actually a lot of people have already been buying pre-order for that one, so people definitely love that cover. But the actual incentives for this one, that one to the far left, that's the Indiac lead. That is a 1 in 500. That means retailers are going to have to buy 500 of those just to get one of those. The one in the middle, that's a 1 in 100, and the camouflage one, that's the one to the top right, that is a 1 in 200. Spider-Punk, the book that nobody cares about or are reading. Torrin Clark. X-Men Red. I do like the one to the right, the Cable with the weird homage to pre-code horror. And I think that will do it for us.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend and come back in the middle of the month, and we will do this all again. And we'll be talking Thor: Love and Thunder, and be looking forward to next month's She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I don't know if everybody's going to watch that.
So I've got a quick question before we go, because if I have
Yes.
to watch the Thor movie for the pod, does that mean the pod pays for my ticket?
We could figure it out. Translate that how much in pounds that is, and I'll Venmo you. All right. Well, enjoy, and we will see you in just a couple of weeks. There.